What's good, y'all? It's your boy Jays here, back at it again, and today we got Why Do Gen Z Women Hate Men by Rambo. You already know what the deal is. Follow me on my socials. Well, without further ado, let's get this video started.
How they thought we'd react to news of the male loneliness epidemic.
Like, what can I do to help? Is there a GoFundMe?
This is a trend. There are a bunch of other TikTok videos with the
I haven't been on TikTok recently, so I'm gonna need my boy to, you know what I'm saying, lay down the evidence, lay down, you know what I'm saying, the facts, and get me caught up.
exact same caption where they're overreacting. Oh, I feel so bad. And then it's the joke that I actually do not feel bad. And if you check the comments under all the videos, they are full of pure hatred. Men's suffering is literally the motivation that gets me out of bed in the morning. For real, men's self-end rates aren't high enough, to be honest. And this is a real problem where young people, men specifically, the leading cause of their death is suicide. And here's the plot twist.
That is true.
Women die from suicide and suffer just as much as men. But here's the question: men disproportionately kill themselves more compared to women. Then why do women suffer as much through suicide? It is because they die significantly less, so their death is relative. But please understand this thing: this is not a woman men problem. Everyone in the middle stages of their life will almost try to hurt themselves. In the context of statistics, children will be living the happiest moment and stage of their life, and the same thing applies to the elderly. But if you're a teenager,
That's the thing, because as a child, it's the exact opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Children, they just came into this world, they're clueless, right? But they have that childlike wonder, they have that innocence, they have that desire to explore the world. You know, they're figuring stuff out, so they don't know a lot of stuff. And like they say, ignorance is bliss. In children, they are the example of purity. So you have this pure being, they don't know a lot about the world, they're ignorant, right? So they don't know about all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when you're young, you mostly just focus on good things, right? The majority of kids are pretty happy, they're energetic, they're lively, they like to play, they like to hoop, they like to draw, watch TV. When I was a kid, right, kindergarten, like elementary school, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I was a happy little fella, bro. I was just happy, I was chilling, I was vibing, I was playing Minecraft, boy. We was playing them Hunger Games, we was cooking up all that, you know what I'm saying? It was good times. And then the pandemic hit when I was in the 5th to 6th grade, and that's like the Gen Z version of that's when the Fire Nation attack. Like it derailed so much, you know what I'm saying, progress, delayed people's lives. It was like, it was an event. Like, I don't think the world has felt the same since the post-pandemic. But yeah, man, kids are pretty happy, you know what I'm saying, for the aforementioned lack of knowledge about the world and the fact that they have that childlike wonder, enthusiasm, and purity. Now, the elderly, they know most about the world. They've lived through most of it. They have all these experiences, the good and the bad and the ugly. But they're fulfilled in the fact that they're content with their lives. They're probably living out in a house with their, you know what I'm saying, their significant other, watching TV, eating breakfast, chopping it up, and having the time of their lives. It's the exact opposite reason. They know so much about the world and they have so many experiences that when something happens or something comes up, they're more equipped to deal with it most of the time because they've been through this before. They know what it's like. They've experienced this firsthand. They understand what's happening and they understand how to deal with it, or at least, you know what I'm saying, put cushion to the blow, you know what I'm saying, heal it up a bit. But when you're in that middle phase, like I'd say from the ages of like 13, maybe 12 to 13 to like your mid 30s, you are figuring out life. You're growing up, you finish high school, and I don't think high school for a lot of people, it doesn't prepare them for the adult world, because you go from super highly regulated, strict system to now you gotta figure out how to live by yourself, move by yourself, how to do all these adult things, and how to basically be by yourself in the world. And a lot of people aren't prepared for that. And the pandemic, which mostly hurt Gen Z, didn't help that, because people were inside for like a year and a half, basically just rotting away their brains, their social battery, and their ability to focus, concentrate, and to converse with one another. And now, even if you weren't like a younger person during the pandemic, right? you were still affected by it because you were indoors all the time. And it is so much more difficult to figure out life when you were basically told to be inside all day and the world shutting down. Like, bro, I feel for people who were like 17, 18, graduating, you know what I'm saying, high school, and now they were hit with that pandemic, bro. Basically messed up the whole name of the game, bro. And I think this is even before the pandemic, because throughout most of, you know what I'm saying, history, if we go back decades or even centuries, that's the most turbulent time in a man's life, right? A man and a woman's life, because you're figuring out life, you're figuring out your interests. You have a lot of pressure put upon you by not only your friends, but most likely family as well, right? You have all this pressure, you have these expectations that people expect out of you. You're going back and forth between what you want to pursue, what you want to do with your life. And it's a lot of, you know, there's hormones at play, you know, there's so many different things to do at once. And that's the most difficult and most likely the most unhappy time of your life, because it's very turbulent. Because I know it's gonna, you know, kind of sound off topic, but if we were to look at a chakra frequency chart, like which would have the highest and lowest frequency, peace is the second highest. Peace is right behind enlightenment when it comes to the best high vibration chakra. And high vibrations basically means you feel better, you're gonna look better, you're more focused, you're more relieved, you're less stressed out. It's basically higher frequency means you're feeling better, lower frequency means you're feeling worse. And peace, which is second best emotion, is most likely absent, because like I said, your teens to like mid to late 30s are most likely turbulent, right? I say the peak of that turbulency is like 14 to like 25. I say that's peak turbulence, bro, because you're figuring all this stuff out. You're going to high school, college, you're doing all these different things, you're trying to learn these different skills. You're most likely working. You're probably not getting the best sleep because, you know, you're busy with school and work and sports and all that. You're trying to do all these different things at once. That's peak turbulency. And that's why a lot of people my age are sad, because when you lack peace, you lack quiet, and you lack harmony, things just unravel and get worse. Because the human brain needs time to be relaxed. It needs time to be calm. Right? So I feel like that can definitely contribute to the fact that a lot of Gen Z women and men are not very happy.
If you're 20, 30, 40, or 50, statistically, you are living in the most unhappy.
Yeah. I said peak turbulence right here, but this can also, yeah, I'd say, yeah, they said 50. I mean, this is what the term midlife crisis
moment
means.
And stage of your life. And if you look at suicide statistics by age, 45 to...
Ooh, yeah, these are way higher. You know, the 10 to 14 are very low. You're still, this is the age where you're becoming less innocent. You're starting to gain more knowledge about the world, but I'd say you're still kind of a kid. When I was 14, I was still a kid. 75 and older is fairly low. 15 to 20, yeah, it saw a sharp increase. I'd say saw a gradual rise from 2007 all the way to 2021. Yeah, I think it's starting to fall off. 65 to 74, it's on the rise a little bit. 25 to 44 and 45 to 64 are at a, that shit peaked in 2019, bro.
64-year-olds take first place. 25 to 44-year-olds
that's what I said. That's that midlife crisis, bro.
Take second place. Then it slightly lowers as the older you get to 65 to 74. But if you're 15 to 24, you're taking fourth place. And then at its lowest is 75 and older. The old people, the ones who are dying, the ones who are broke, the ones who have nothing to live for. Your wife died. They are the happiest. How? Why? And at its very lowest, 10 to 14-year-olds.
Hey,
You cannot replicate the happiness, the confidence of old people. You cannot replicate the happiness and confidence of a child, because you are living your current stage. You must accept reality for what it is. And more importantly, look at the people who try to. There are so many man children who disregard a lot of responsibilities in their life, trying to play video games, eat junk food, and trying to replicate the happiness they once felt. But they don't understand that the advice old people give you, you have all heard it already. Think everyone naked. Oh, who cares about
that
what
doesn't
others...
Stop. That doesn't work, bro. I've never in my life imagine everyone being butt ass naked and be like, yeah, bro, I'm ready now. Like, no, bro, that would make it worse.
People think we all know it, but because we are young, you cannot help it, because there are other priorities in your life that are more important, where you kind of do need to care, because you do need a job. You are not retired. You care about what other people think, because they're the ones that pay your bills. Life is a completely different game at different stages and ages in your life.
100% life. The advice that would work for like a 12-year-old, most likely, now there are a universal piece of advice that might work, yes. But the advice that a 75, the problem is that people lived in different eras. Like an advice a 75-year-old might give to like a 16-year-old may not apply, right? Because they lived in a different era. They lived in a different time. The time a 75-year-old lived when they were like your age, right, was probably like the 60s and 70s and whatnot. We're done with the 90s. We're done with the 90s. We're in a different era. Like the world in the 70s and 60s is completely different from the world in the 2020s. It's completely different.
Life. You personally cannot replicate the happiness and excitement as a child, because if you are, you will just be escaping the reality of life. You have seen so many adults where all they do is try to avoid responsibility by being slothful, by doing absolutely nothing. I don't want to do it. I don't want to take up any sort of responsibility. And over time, they're trying to chase the happiness they once felt, but they will only end up with worse consequences. And this is a very important point people fail to understand. It is extremely easy to fall into the trap of hating women, fall into the trap of hating men, because there are so many reasons to hate life. And the only way to make yourself feel a little bit more confident, a little bit better about myself, is to belittle the other gender. Ha ha ha, me right now with lonely men.
This is why I don't take sides in this whole men versus women. Like, it's pointless. Bickering between the sexes will never lead to anything positive. Constant bickering, constant chatter, constant she said, he said, she said, he did. Most, if not almost all of it, is just a waste of space, bro. It's a waste of space. It's pointless. It doesn't contribute anything to society. It doesn't help us. And in fact, it's dividing us even further. Right? I don't think the sexes have ever been at odds in this country, the United States that is, more than ever. I don't think they've ever been at odds like this. And social media definitely isn't helping it, because a lot of people, like he said, avoid responsibility. They avoid employment. There is a whole organization called NEET, which stands for Not in Education, Employment, or Training. You're basically a bum. You're basically not doing anything with your life. You're not working. You're not trying to get your education. You're not working an internship. You're not really doing anything productive. You're not doing... You're basically just sitting around all day, eating canes, eating potato chips, watching TV, and just wasting your years away, bro. And when you're living like that, you're on social media all the time, you're playing the game all the time, and any free time you have, you go on social media to get that bit of dopamine, because your life is not where it is. You feel like you need something, you need it now, because your dopamine levels are so low, which makes you feel worse. So you go to the social media, you go to the TikToks, you go to the Twitters, you go to the Instagrams to seek some of that feel-good chemical to make you feel a bit better. But what happens is that you become more detached from reality. You're scrolling, you're seeing this, you're seeing that. And even if you don't pay attention to it, even if you don't click on it, it's in your subconscious. You're just filling your brain with clutter. You know, you're just filling it with so much useless information that it's causing you to not be able to concentrate. It's hurting your focus, right? And when you're on social media all the time, you start to gain opinions, right? You start to gain opinions from these things and these people who you've never met. You don't know their life. You don't know their situation. You don't know if they're being 100% serious or not. You're basically just taking opinions from other people without questioning it, without challenging it, without even giving it much thought. And that leads to, becoming more polarized. The America that we live in today is as politically, socially polarized as almost it's ever been. It's extremely polarized. The sexes are complete. There's more bickering between the sexes than there ever was before. Politically, it's a shit show. The politics in this country, right, of this current day are a shit show, right? It's just constant, just bickering, and it's facilitated. Obviously, it's facilitated by the declining economic situation, the decline in birth rates, the lack of new jobs, you know, the lack of trust in the government. But it's also being facilitated by social media. It's being facilitated by all these Twitters, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the TikToks, even the YouTubes and the Snapchats. It's being facilitated by so many social media apps, these ideas, these beliefs, these ways of thinking. And when you're inside all day, you don't have the experience, the real life with all, to be able to challenge these opinions. You don't have your brain is, you're so physically, mentally tired that you're just letting anything in your mind, any idea in your mind. What happens is people have these very harsh, very deep, very far gone opinions and ways of thinking and behaviors. And it's being facilitated by the fact that it's an echo chamber. It's an echo chamber. You're watching the same content, the same stuff, the same videos over and over and over again. You're not giving any room for this belief, this idea that you hold to be challenged. And this is all, and this idea, this little cycle I just described, is facilitating the divides, and not only the genders, the sexes, but the political parties as well. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of, I feel like this, what I just said, would contribute to this, and vice versa.
And what a dumb comment.
Envy is one emotion that almost...
This is just envy. Envy is the worst emotion. Envy gives nothing, it takes all. Right? Pride, yes. Is pride a bad emotion? In complete excess, yes. But pride has led men to do the most heroic and most valiant things known to man. Disgust, which is racism basically, helps keep a society together against something. Even if it's a negative, it helps kind of create a more distinct society and a more committed society, even if it's racism. But disgust is an important emotion, because if you're disgusted by something, you want to stay away from it and keep it and make sure that no one is near that thing, which can create a sense of unity, right? We look at fear-based societies often, right? Even though they're fear of a god, they're most likely have animalistic beliefs, are very well, you know what I'm saying? They're doing all right for themselves because they have a common unifying thing and a common worship of a god. But envy is literally just taking away stuff from other people. You're not building onto it. You're not doing anything. Envy is literally just taking away. It's hate. Envy is pure hate incarnate.
No one will ever admit to, because to admit to feeling envy is to admit that you feel inferior to another person. We don't like to do that. We want to feel superior. So no one will ever admit that they acted out of envy.
I've watched a bunch of videos on why men are explaining that women suck. I've equally watched the exact opposite, why women say that men suck. But to get everything down to the roots, they'll give you exact pinpoint reasons. Oh, they do this, they do that. Oh, they kill more people. They're so dumb, they die more. But here's the thing. It is out of envy. The reason why they hate the other group is because deep down, they know that they have something that the other gender wants. Most of the time, the men that do hate groups of women are all incels because they cannot get and attract other people as easy as it is for women. And the same thing applies to women hating on men. Men have a higher ceiling of intelligence, and equally they also have a lower ceiling of intelligence. They are more extreme on both sides, and they overly fixate on the extreme sides, the worst sides, and also the best sides. That gives them the perfect reason to hate the rich men. They are also the brokest people. Here's the thing, guys, here's the thing. Envy is a real emotion, and a lot of people cannot regulate and understand it. And more importantly, this clouds your judgment. You no longer know what you actually like or dislike. Nobody talks about this, but the whole Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, I guarantee you a big reason why people were willing to hate on Drake is because he's so successful. He is so successful in every single factor that there is. Deep down, the entire audience is envious of what he has, so it's easier to hate on him and root for the underdog. And here's the thing. The reason why old people are so confident and happy as well as children compared to everyone else is because they lack that emotion. They are not envious. An old man walking across the street is not going to compare and contrast the difference of how people look. They don't care. They'll wear whatever bullshit they got in the closet. The same thing applies to wealth. A lot of them are either extremely broke or extremely rich, and nonetheless, they don't care as much as it is important to young people.
This just proves that so much of happiness is rooted in not caring what other people think. It's having the belief that, listen, in the other instances where what a person believes matter, yes, right? If you're trying to get a job, the person's opinion of you matters, right? You're trying to get that new car, you're trying to get a new deal, that person's opinion of you matters. But in a lot of scenarios, in a lot of ways, it's like you can't constantly rely on a person's opinion of you, because that's how you become miserable. You're just living for other people.
Reason why young people are so unhappy, and I can't give you this as a one-liner shoot of advice. It is a very complex thing. It's because envy runs in our system. We are constantly comparing ourselves to our peers. It is definitely exacerbated because of social
media. I was about to say, bro, me and him, we thinking alike. You know what I'm saying?
Media, but even without it, even when you were all the way young back in the day where there was no technology, people still compared each other based on envy. This person is more successful than me. This person looks better than me. And because you're comparing so many aspects of life to extreme levels of people that are only good at that one thing, you feel inferior. And this leads to a point where it feels like you are the worst of the worst. It really gives you the feeling of no control. And I believe the best way to overcome this feeling is to stop giving so much value onto one attribute of a person. From the outside looking in, I'm assuming girls get eating disorders, girls get very depressed because all they value is being skinny, all they value is looking good. And for men, it's dumb, stupid shit. How much muscles you got, how smart are you, how much money you got, are you good looking enough? Every single one of them are overly obsessed about one key aspect of life. And because they overfixate on the thing that other people have and they don't have, which is envy, they fall down this spiral. And it is a complete disservice to other people and yourself. People are more than just their looks, than just how much money they have. Everyone struggles. And the advice where think everyone naked, I do not think it is a sexual thing. I do not believe it is a literal thing, but metaphorically, everyone is not perfect. There is that weird mole on your body and there's no use in hiding it. We are not perfect. We are all vulnerable and you should not judge based on the outside perspective. This is a big reason why children and old people have the highest life satisfaction. It is not because they are dumb, they have so much experience. It's because they've lost the feeling of envy. The younger you are at certain ages, you feel more emotions than different stages of your life. And children and old people lack the biggest form of envy. Children don't care. They're too dumb to care. They're asking every single question. And the same thing applies to old people. They're too old to care. They're poor, they're rich, no matter where they are in their life status-wise, they don't have the time to care, the time to compare and judge. Thank you for watching. If you want to watch a 30-minute version
W video, bro. W video. Yeah, man, I think envy, horrible emotion, but hey, man, that was that video. Thank y'all for watching. Go sub up to my boy Rambo. Yeah, I'm happy this was an introspective video. I'm so happy this wasn't just a women bad, men bad, because those videos, they don't help. When you're blindly hating on one side, it just it doesn't help. It doesn't help. But hey, man, I appreciate y'all watching this video. I had to get in my bag, had to get in my, you know what I'm saying, get in my duffel case to, you know what I'm saying, cook up some commentary for this video. But yeah, man, this is going on the Jay's Their channel, so go check it out. If you check about my you check my links, it should be there, third one. But thank you for watching this video. Stay blessed, stay healthy, stay wealthy. 100K by the end of the year on the main channel. Jay's here, yes sir. It's your host Jay, and I'm out.